From an American perspective, particularly through the lens of sports culture, the debate on whether the Dallas Cowboys should trade Micah Parsons, as raised by Canty, provokes intense reactions. This discussion, which aired on First Take, is deeply rooted in the way the NFL values star players, locker room dynamics, and team culture, especially in a high-profile organization like the Cowboys. Micah Parsons is widely regarded as a generational talent. His athletic prowess, particularly as a pass rusher, is undeniable, leading virtually every major metric over the past 2 years. The notion of trading a player like him might seem absurd to most fans and analysts, and Micah Parsons reinforces this argument by highlighting his on-field dominance. Parsons' ability to disrupt defensive lines, despite being double-teamed more than any other player in the league, shows he is not just a star but a game-changer. For a franchise as storied as the Cowboys, to move on from such a talent as Parsons suggests, could set them back years. However, Canty's point isn't merely about football performance. It dives deeper into the concept of team culture and locker room leadership. Parsons has been outspoken, not only on his podcast but also in his dealings with the media. His comments regarding quarterback Dak Prescott and head coach Mike McCarthy have raised eyebrows, implying a potential leadership challenge or tension within the team. Canty argues that this vocal nature undermines the cohesion and authority within the Cowboys organization, suggesting that moving Parsons would send a strong message that culture and leadership are paramount. This brings us to a classic American sports conundrum: the balance between talent and culture. In the NFL, talent often reigns supreme, and superstars are given leeway to be outspoken so long as they deliver on the field. This is particularly true in franchises like the Cowboys, where ownership, particularly Jerry Jones, is known to embrace larger-than-life personalities. As Stephen A. Smith points out, Jones himself is a master of the media spotlight, often overshadowing his own players with his comments and behavior. In a sense, Parsons' outspokenness mirrors that of Jones, which may actually be seen as acceptable or even encouraged in Dallas organizational culture. Smith also argues that trading Parsons for cultural reasons would be a mistake. Parsons isn't a culture shredder, in Smith's view, rather he's a culture builder. This distinction is crucial in a league where leadership comes in many forms. While Parsons may not offer unconditional support for Prescott or McCarthy, he has demonstrated leadership by backing other team veterans like Zach Martin and DeMarcus Lawrence. His criticisms, if they can even be classified as such, are seen more as moments of honesty rather than divisiveness. The financial aspect of the discussion, centered around the Cowboys' salary cap issues, complicates the situation. The team is facing a dilemma with 3 players consuming a significant portion of the cap, including Prescott. Micah Parsons and Canty both acknowledge the Cowboys' notorious tendency to delay payments for their top talent, which often leads to salary cap problems. The argument here is not so much about whether Parsons should be paid, he undoubtedly should, but whether the team can afford to pay him and still fill the other gaps in their roster, particularly on defense, where the Cowboys have struggled despite Parsons' individual brilliance. Canty's suggestion that trading Parsons could allow the Cowboys to address other needs through draft picks or additional cap space is, in theory, a logical approach to team building. But as Parsons counters, this is a highly risky strategy. There is no guarantee that the team could find another player of Parsons' caliber, and the likelihood that multiple draft picks would collectively make up for his impact on the field is slim. Teams dream of drafting players like Parsons, and once you have one, the conventional wisdom is that you build around them, not trade them away. The cap space issue is not insurmountable, as Parsons points out. The Cowboys can restructure contracts, particularly Prescott's, to make room for Parsons' inevitable extension. This is common practice in the NFL, and successful teams find ways to navigate the salary cap while keeping their core players. It is not so much the question of whether they can afford Parsons, but whether they can afford not to have him. In conclusion, the idea of trading Micah Parsons strikes at the heart of how teams are built in the NFL. From a purely performance standpoint, Parsons is indispensable, a cornerstone around which the Cowboys can build for years. However, Canty's argument about culture reflects a deeper concern about leadership and unity in the locker room, which are critical for long-term success. The Cowboys' challenge is to balance these elements, keeping a talent like Parsons while ensuring the team culture remains strong. For most fans and analysts, however, the answer seems clear. You don't trade a player like Micah Parsons. You pay him, you build around him, and you figure out the rest.